think back in your minds, you might only have to think back to like 10 minutes ago. What's been the most crazy time when you're like feeling overwhelmed? You've got 4 kids. It's like, how do I do this? Tell me about some of that. Some of those kinds of moments.
Moving. Just trying to figure out how to pack with 4 little ones running around and unpacking and, loading up a truck, and how do you explain to your children, about the move and the emotions that they may be feeling, and if they're sad or happy, and trying to get them focused on the happy aspect of moving.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
For me, the hardest part is when my kids really need me, and my job also really needs me, and my husband also really needs, when there's times where I'm being pulled in multiple directions, especially when the kids are sick. And if I'm also sick, and then there's just sometimes you feel like
you
there's
get
not
sick?
enough of
Moms
you.
aren't allowed to be sick. What are you talking about?
Well, we're really not, and actually, unfortunately, I don't get sick all that often. Otherwise, I don't know how I would ever, handle it. But that's the hardest for me, where I feel like I have to be. It just involves extreme time management to how am I going to coordinate everything to where I'm going to make sure that my kids' needs get met, and I'm also going to be able to at least survive my other obligations, and maybe I can come back to them and focus on them more, but at least there won't be a dumpster fire in the meantime.
Right. So when you say extreme time management, can you delve into that a little bit? Explain what you mean by that. Do you have a very rigid schedule?
No, I don't. Let me tell you what I have a whole little philosophy on this. I think when you're the parent of, like, say, 1 child or maybe 2 children, parenting is kind of like tutoring. I'm coming from an educational model here because that's my area of work. Yeah. Where you're kind of working one-on-one and you're focused on that one person and their needs. I think when you have like 4 kids, parenting is more like being an administrator, where you're trying to negotiate everyone's needs. Like I'm imagining like the supervisor of a department where he's got 4, 5, 6 employees, and okay, this one needs this, but that one needs that, but that one needs that. And I think parenting multiple children is a lot like that. And you're not able to you yourself directly meet every single need, so you have to have in your mind what are all the resources that you can draw on. And having relatives nearby, okay, this is a situation that warrants a call to grandma to say, I'm really sorry to bother you, and you don't want to do this every day or grandma will not be happy. But can you help us out? Here's what we have going on here. And other friends with children or other resources that you can kind of pull in.
Yes.
And also at work, if you're getting completely overwhelmed and you can't juggle all of that work and also all the kids that you have going on, where do you ask a colleague, hey, if you're not too busy this afternoon, can you help me out with this project here?
Right.
And kind of, share the load a little bit when you're able to. So I think it just involves kind of trying to think ahead of the curve. I don't have a strict routine. Instead, what I do is I try to see what I have coming down the pike and try to think about what are the different strategies that I can use to manage whatever comes, and deal with it as it happens.
So thinking ahead is probably what staves off chaos on like everyday basis.
And if I make sure I have at least 1 or 2 things going on in my life that are really fun and interesting for me, which are often related to either like my job or my studies, but if I have some kind of really cool project going on, then that kind of gives me that energy and that motivation to be able to wake up in the morning and be like, okay, before 10 a.m. I have to do these 5 things. Let's go. Let's do it.
Right.
And I think if I felt that all of life was just an obligation, I didn't have these really fun, interesting things, then I might get overwhelmed a little bit more easily.
Yeah.